You made it! You got through all of that material, equipped yourself with so much knowledge, and now we finish with some juicy, actionable tips on how exactly to do parasite cleansing, and also, maybe more importantly, how not to do parasite cleansing. So let's talk the do's and don'ts of parasite cleansing now. I know if you're like most of my clients, once they hear this stuff and they familiarize themselves with this problem and they understand that they may have creatures inside of them that are messing up their whole system, they want to hit the ground running and start nuking those bad boys. But if you do that, you will likely experience a horrible, let me repeat, horrible reaction that sets you back for many moons. So please do not move forward without taking these pieces of advice into account. There are 3 major mistakes that I see over and over again in my practice when it comes to parasite cleansing. Those mistakes are drainage, products, and consistency. So let's start by talking drainage. Drainage. What the heck is drainage? It's simple. Drainage refers to your body's ability to eliminate its waste through the designated exit pathways. So before you parasite cleanse, or for that matter, start killing or detoxing anything in your body, you need to square your jaw, look yourself in the mirror, and ask yourself, are my exit pathways open? If the answer is no, which it is for virtually everybody who I work with in the beginning, you have work to do before you can begin your parasite cleanse. So before you do anything else, you need to focus on opening up your drainage pathways. Usually, we spend 30 to 60 days on this. And so what does this mean practically? This means that you are going poo 1 to 3 times a day, depending on your needs. It also means that you are sweating and you are able to sweat. So many people think that it's a great thing that their body somehow can't sweat anymore, but that is not so. You actually need to sweat to get gunk out of your system. And so the inability to do so often indicates that there are some insidious kinds of stagnations and blockages happening in your drainage system. So you also need to support your liver and kidneys with targeted therapies because they're going to be going through the ringer during the cleansing phase. You also need to support lymphatic flow so that all of the stuff that you kill off can actually make it into your elimination pathways. That's what the lymphatic system does. And then you need to hydrate, and specifically on the cellular level. So this does mean drinking water, yes, but also using ingredients that drive water into the cells so that your body can actually use that water and not just pee it all out. So lots of people will say, I can't drink a lot of water because I have to go to the bathroom all the time. That means that that water isn't doing you any good anyway. So we've got to focus on cellular hydration. All right, so in a properly draining body, you will have an immaculate drainage funnel, just like the one that is depicted in this graphic here. So on the left, this is what represents an optimal drainage funnel, and on the right represents a drainage funnel with some issues. So in a proper drainage funnel, your cellular waste will flow into your organs and tissues, then into your lymphatic system where it is carried into your liver. Your liver will process that waste efficiently and conjugate it into safe particles that are ready for elimination. Then your bile will flow easily from your liver into your bowel, where your colon will then eliminate it with ease and grace. Yes, this is the goal, a well-oiled drainage funnel from top to bottom. So, often what we see before we provide the drainage support that we do is something more akin to the scenario on the right there. So we'll see some kind of congestion, and so often that congestion is happening at the liver. So when your liver gets overwhelmed with toxins to conjugate, there's actually a kind of trap door where the excess toxins waiting to be conjugated just overflow into this trap door area and then go back into the bloodstream where they are recirculated. And so when this is happening, these recirculated toxins tend to manifest most often in the skin, the kidneys, and the lungs. So if you have skin issues or kidney issues or lung issues, then it's likely that we need to focus on your liver and especially your bile. All right, so when you think drainage, think funnel. So, what happens if you try to jump into killing off parasites without supporting your drainage funnel first? Well, as you might remember, the parasites will release all of the toxic crap in their spongy tissue as they die off. And all of those toxins need to be detoxified in the liver before they can exit the body. So, if you have not supported your drainage system and it's operating more like the picture on the right there, then the toxins from the parasites are just going to go right back out the trap door and recirculate. And this is when you feel horrible. I've seen it so many times. Do not do this. Don't. Instead, what we do to support all of these beautiful players in the drainage funnel is quite simple. We bring in natural bowel support and magnesium to make sure that you're going to the bathroom. Better too much than too little here. We make sure that you are sweating by introducing gradual heat exposure and binders to help with anything that might be mobilized as you do this. We add in liver supportive herbs and tudka, which is a potent bile acid to break up stagnation around the liver. We also introduce therapies like dry brushing, breath work, Epsom salt baths, and herbs to support lymphatic flow. And finally, we hydrate our cells by boosting the mitochondria using fulvic and humic acids and instituting cell-stimulating activities like red light therapy. All right, so drainage is probably the biggest mistake that I see, or at least the one I see most often. I beg of you, do not start a parasite cleanse before addressing your drainage. All right, so now let's talk products. There are a ton of parasite cleansing products on the market, but most of them are not very good. So let's talk about why. So most products on the market are broad spectrum but low power. In other words, these products contain lots of different ingredients that target parasites indiscriminately. And the price we pay for having such broad spectrum products is that they are diluted in their potency. And actually, the broad spectrum nature here isn't even a very good thing because we want to tackle parasites in a very specific order. We don't want to be tackling systemic parasites while we tackle gut parasites. Doing all of that at once will overwhelm your drainage system and be way too much for your body and for your liver. Instead, we want to be much more targeted in our approach and in that way ease your drainage burden. So one of the reasons that these products are not powerful is because they are destroyed by the stomach acid. And so a lot of the active ingredients don't get to where they need to go in order to work because they just get neutralized right away. Instead, we want to use something called carbon technology to protect the herbs that we use and guide them to where they need to be in the body. And we'll talk about that more in just a moment. And then finally, most products don't incorporate synergistic aids to help with aspects beyond just the killing. So in particular, they don't add in a gut scrubber to help paralyze and escort critters out of the body. They also don't bind and remove all of that toxic stuff that the parasites are releasing when they die, which again can easily burden the drainage pathways without support. So don't forget, parasites hold heavy metals, chemicals, Lyme and pathogenic microbes, viruses and fungus, and mold. This means that when you kill your parasites, they will release all of this stuff, and your immune system will freak out without the proper support. This is temporarily a little bit hard on your body, I'm not gonna lie to you. But getting these dudes out will be such a huge payoff. And if done in the correct way, we have lots of support to help bind these up and nourish any residual inflammation they may have caused. So you may ask, okay, well, which products should I use? I suggest only using professional grade products. There's just a lot of ways that this process can become complex. So ensuring that you're using quality products is one less variable that you have to worry about. So in my practice, I use a lot of products from Byron White, from Supreme Nutrition, and then my favorite all-time parasite cleansing products are from Cellcore Biosciences. I'm such a fan of this company. They have literally revolutionized parasite products and parasite cleansing in general. I find that they are by far the most effective, and they all are designed to work well together. So if you just choose one brand, I would definitely make it this one. So let's talk about why Cellcore products in particular address all of these problems that we saw with other products. All right, so Cellcore products are very specific. They have formulas that target the gut, and then they have formulas which target systemic parasites. They also have exceptionally high electrical conductivity and a low pH, which allows them to drive deeper into the system, and it makes them very, very potent. Yes, they are super powerful, and for this reason, I never suggest that anybody use these without a practitioner supervising the process. Next, Cellcore products are the only ones on the market that use carbon technology as a delivery system, and this helps to deliver the herbs to exactly where they need to be in the body. So the carbon helps buffer the active ingredients from the stomach acid so that they survive on their trek downward. And then the carbon itself can also cross into the bloodstream more easily so that the herbs get more widely dispersed throughout the body. Cellcore also uses a gut scrubber called Mimosa pudica seed, which is a unique substance whose spongy nature allows it to grab and stick onto parasites and pull them into the stool. It also confers many digestive and antioxidant benefits. And then Cellcore's binders are the best ones that I have found on the market. They leverage fulvic and humic acids to mop up new debris being kicked up by the dislodging of these parasites. And these substances are also very nutrient giving, and they have an antioxidant effect that helps to soothe inflammation as well. So often using these binders results in significantly less of a quote-unquote die-off effect. So while I love Cellcore, like I mentioned, they are very powerful products and are not right for everybody for this reason. So this is why it's so important to take a bio-individual approach to determine what the best path and products are for you. So in my practice, I do this by taking into account your blood work from a functional perspective, your signs and symptoms, your level of sensitivity, and of course, your drainage health. So because this is so bio-individual, I always suggest working with a practitioner like myself to get started on this work. So that covers products. So finally, let's talk the last mistake, which is usually a little bit more of a subtle one, and that is consistency. It is so important to be persistent and consistent with parasite cleansing. Like we saw yesterday in that paper about South Korea, it took them 25 years to get their population's roundworm infections under control, and they were administering these pharmaceuticals every single year. So Our work is much more intensive and more potent, so it likely won't take us 25 years, but it is important to not get complacent and to not quit your work after parasite cleansing, or else you may remain vulnerable. So, how long should you parasite cleanse for? The truth is that you likely have layers of parasites, and your body cannot release them all at once, or else your drainage system will be in crisis. So, what we often see is that the body releases these in layers. This is why consistency matters. So, if you've been passing parasites for a while and are hitting a plateau, oftentimes it's good to go a little bit longer than you think you need to, because another layer will be released unexpectedly. So I always tell people when they think they're done, just keep going a little longer. And then depending on the severity of your infection, this process could take anywhere from 2 months to 2 years. But with that being said, the goal of parasite cleansing is not to eliminate all of them from your body. This is likely impossible. Really, what we want to do is reduce your load enough to regain your immune activity and to lower your toxicity bucket. So you really don't want to get stuck in parasite cleansing and not move on to detoxing. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So it's actually really good to recognize up front, what if these guys come back? Oh yes, they absolutely will. So remember that parasites are everywhere. You should continue parasite cleansing anywhere from quarterly to yearly in the future, depending on what you feel like your needs are. After your initial intensive clean out, you likely won't need to do anything as intensive when you're doing these maintenance cleanses. They can be a lot lighter and easier, but eliminating the toxicity is what will help your immune system to eventually normalize or get closer to normal. And that is going to help you to better fight off future infection. So this is why you don't want to get stuck in parasite cleansing forever. You've got to continue to move through the rest of the mitochondria mastery map and detox to really affect lasting change for yourself. And I see that sometimes too, where people are just afraid to stop cleansing now that they're beginning to feel better and move on to these other stages. But like we mentioned, tending to the toxicity is what is going to make your body less amenable to parasite colonization. So you have to complete the rest of the steps here for yourself. Okay, that about wraps up my parasite cleansing do's and don'ts. So let's summarize. You never want to parasite cleanse without opening up your drainage pathways, or you will most definitely make things much worse. You should always opt to use high quality, proven products that create synergy with one another. Never just use one product while you're doing this. And finally, you should be consistent with cleansing and later emphasize detox to ensure that you will continue to have a lower load going into the future. And that wraps up our 7-day parasite probe. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how much we've covered. I hope that you are feeling empowered AF and are hopefully chomping at the bit to get going on helping yourself in this way by addressing any potential parasite presence. So hey, if you're interested in getting to work on this sooner rather than later, then I would love to help you with this. It's kind of what I do. So if you would like more information about how we might work together, then definitely check below the video for all the juicy details. My clients will tell you this is really weird work, but it's also really fun. So I would love to welcome you into the Gutsy Green community and help you with your parasites. So thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope that you've had as much fun as I have. If you really loved our 7-day class, feel free to shoot us an email to info@gutsygreen.com to tell us what you thought. We would love to hear from you. I will look forward to seeing you next time, my friend. Talk to you soon. Bye.